The night over Earth was quiet, until the sky cracked open. Without warning, 3 massive shadows appeared near the moon. They weren't meteors. They weren't human. Each shape shimmered with an unnatural blue light, moving with perfect precision. Within minutes, every defense satellite near orbit went dark. People on Earth looked up, confused. The stars were vanishing one by one. Then came the sound, a deep, rolling thunder that shook the air. Across continents, sirens screamed. Space Command, buried deep under the mountains of Colorado, came alive. Red lights flashed. Screens filled with data. A voice cut through the noise. Unidentified ships approaching Earth. Origin unknown. Weapons locked. For decades, humanity had feared this day. The day someone from the stars would come, not to greet, but to conquer. And it had begun. In orbit, the alien ships began to move. Their hulls glowed with symbols, strange and alive. Inside one of them, alien commanders watched holographic feeds of Earth's cities. A cold, reptilian voice spoke in their native tongue, primitive world. Minimal threat. Begin cleansing protocol. The first beam fired. A blinding white line cut through the sky, hitting a satellite defense array above Asia. The explosion was so large it could be seen from the ground. Humans had built that defense to stop asteroids, not fleets. Within seconds, the alien warships tore apart Earth's orbital network. Communication lines broke. GPS failed. Even the International Space Station was turned into burning fragments. On the ground, chaos spread. Planes lost control. Power grids failed. The night sky was filled with falling debris, glowing like fiery rain. Admiral Elena Reyes, commander of Earth's defense network, stood in the command room, surrounded by holographic maps of the solar system. Her voice stayed calm, but her eyes were sharp as steel. Status of the orbital defense grid. 70% destroyed, ma'am. And the alien count? 3 confirmed, but scanners show more incoming. Hundreds more. Reyes took a breath. They're not here to negotiate. No one spoke. Every soldier in that room knew what this meant. Humanity was no longer alone, and they were under attack. At the United Nations Space Council, panic erupted. Leaders shouted over one another. Some demanded surrender messages. Others argued for retaliation. But Reyes wasn't listening to them. She was listening to something else, the faint sound of static in her earpiece, a secret channel. Hidden, encrypted, known only to a few. Command, this is Black Echo, said a voice. Authorization, Iron Sky, do we engage? Reyes closed her eyes for a moment. Iron Sky was not a defense plan. It was a myth, a project so classified, most people didn't believe it existed. Engage, she said. Across the solar system, silent stations long forgotten by governments came online. In the darkness beyond Neptune, massive structures began to awaken. Engines ignited and silent and blue. Back in orbit, alien ships continued their assault. They launched drones, black spheres that moved faster than bullets. Each one exploded near military satellites, turning space into debris fields. Inside the alien flagship, the commander hissed, "Weak resistance!" End this quickly. But something unexpected appeared on their scanners. Energy spikes far beyond Neptune. Report, the commander demanded. Unknown readings, sir. Massive power sources activating in the outer system. Impossible. This species cannot. Before he could finish, a signal cut through every channel. Human and alien alike. It was a human voice, calm, confident. This is Admiral Reyes. United Terran Fleet, you have attacked our home. Now you face our answer. In the deep void beyond Neptune, shadows began to move. Hundreds of them. At first, they looked like asteroids, lifeless and cold. But then the dark crust split open, revealing sleek metallic hulls. Engines glowed to life, one after another. Massive warships emerged from hiding, long, armored, and armed with weapons never before seen. They were the Hidden Fleet, built in secret by humanity over decades, Project Iron Sky. The largest ship led the formation. On its hull was painted a single word, Titan. Inside the alien fleet, panic began to spread. Their scanners couldn't believe what they were seeing. Humanity wasn't supposed to have this kind of technology. Not yet. Not for centuries. One alien officer stammered, "Sir, these readings. These are military vessels. Hundreds of them." The commander's voice trembled for the first time. "Deploy reinforcements, now." On Earth, people watched the skies, expecting the end. Instead, they saw a miracle. The moon's surface flashed as alien ships were struck by beams of light, energy weapons firing from somewhere far beyond. In seconds, explosions filled the night. Humanity was striking back. In Space Command, the room filled with cheers. Reyes didn't smile. Her gaze stayed locked on the screen showing Neptune's dark side. "Signal from the Iron Sky Fleet," an officer said. "They're awaiting orders." Reyes leaned forward. "Tell them this. Protect Earth no matter the cost," the officer nodded. "And after that?" She looked at the burning sky. "After that, make them regret ever coming here." In the silence of space, the first human fleet began to move toward the alien invasion force. Engines roared. Weapons charged. Humanity had been attacked. But the universe was about to learn a lesson. Never underestimate Earth. The alien commander of the 3rd Vanguard Fleet stared at the holographic feed, his eyes wide with disbelief. "What are those ships?" he hissed. The answer came back trembling from his sensors officer. "Unknown design, Commander. Energy output exceeds classification limits. Their heat signatures are off the charts. These ships, they shouldn't exist." In the cold dark between Neptune and the stars, the human fleet advanced, massive, silent, unstoppable. Alien drones swarmed forward to scan the human formation. The drones transmitted data for only 3 seconds before they vanished, melted mid-flight by invisible beams. Then came the voice. Calm, confident, human. "Alien fleet. This is Admiral Elena Reyes of the United Terran Fleet. You have attacked Earth. Stand down or be destroyed." The alien commander laughed, a deep, guttural sound. "Your species has no right to speak to us, primitive." He raised his hand. Fire! Thousands of plasma rounds streaked through the darkness toward the human fleet. The void burned blue, and yet none of the shots hit. A transparent field shimmered around the human ships, absorbing the barrage like rain on glass. Then, in a single synchronized flash, the human fleet returned fire. The silence of space was broken by the roar of plasma cannons and railguns, so large they tore holes in the starscape. The alien fleet, once confident, began to fall apart. The command deck of the Titan, humanity's largest warship, thrummed with energy. Crew members worked fast, calm but tense. Admiral Reyes stood at the center, surrounded by holographic tactical maps. "Target lock confirmed," said Commander Imani. "Open the first volley," Reyes ordered. "On your mark." "Admiral," Reyes gave a small nod. "Fire." From the Titan's massive forward hull, energy cannons glowed like suns. The blast that followed was so bright that sensors across the solar system overloaded. In a single instant, 3 alien battleships vanished, erased. The remaining alien fleet broke formation. Inside their command ship, officers shouted, "Our shields are collapsing." "Weapons offline!" Their technology, it's centuries ahead of prediction. The alien commander clenched his claws. "No, this is impossible." Earth was under surveillance for 200 cycles. They had nothing like this, but the data didn't lie. The energy readings from the Titan alone exceeded every known measure in the Council's database. Reports flooded in. Alien fleets destroyed. Human fleet holding strong. Every screen glowed with incoming battle footage, massive explosions, burning wrecks, and the impossible sight of human ships standing victorious against galactic power. A young officer turned to Reyes's image on the holofeed. "Admiral, how did we build this without anyone knowing?" Reyes's answer was quiet but proud. "Humanity learned long ago to survive by hiding its sharpest teeth, hidden shipyards orbiting the dark side of Neptune. Massive freighters carrying secret cargo under false flags. Scientists working under ocean bases and lunar shadows. Blueprints labeled Project Iron Sky. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. The aliens just never looked close enough. In a grand hall across the galaxy, the Alien Council gathered. Dozens of species, tall, scaled, glowing, winged, all watched the live feed from Sol System. They saw their mighty fleet burning. They heard Admiral Reyes's voice echo through the comms. "You wanted our surrender. You will get our response instead." Panic spread through the council chamber. An elder alien slammed his staff on the floor. "Humans were supposed to be a minor species. How did they hide this power from us?" Another shouted, "Their world is young, their science primitive. This cannot be real." Yet the truth blazed across every hologram. The human fleet existed, and it was winning. The alien commander tried one last desperate tactic. "Activate gravity torpedoes." He barked, "Tear them apart!" The torpedoes launched, invisible bombs that folded space itself. But before they could reach their targets, human countermeasures intercepted. Tiny drones exploded, forming glowing shields around the Titan. The torpedoes imploded harmlessly. Then, on final order from Admiral Reyes, "Finish it." The Titan's forward weapon systems glowed white-hot. A single beam shot forward, cutting through the alien command ship like it was made of paper. Silence. Silence. The once great alien fleet drifted, burning wreckage scattered among the stars. Only a few escape pods survived, carrying terrified officers who whispered the same words again and again. The humans. They were never supposed to have this power. Back aboard the Titan, Reyes stood at the viewport. Neptune glowed faintly behind her, its light reflecting on the warship's armor. Her second officer spoke softly. "Ma'am, what's our next move?" Reyes didn't answer right away. She looked toward the stars, toward the direction of the alien homeworlds. Then she said quietly, "We send them a message." Far away, in the alien capital, the Council received that message. It was a simple video. Admiral Reyes, calm and direct. "You wanted to test us. You wanted to conquer us. Now you've awakened something you can't control. Humanity doesn't bow." Transmission ended. In the council chamber, silence hung heavy. One alien leader whispered, "If their fleet truly exists, the war we started may end with our extinction." The council chamber of the Galactic Union had never been silent before. It was a place of endless debate, arrogance, and power, where the ancient species of the stars dictated who lived and who fell. But today, no one spoke. Dozens of alien leaders stood frozen, their eyes fixed on a single projection, the live footage of humanity's fleet annihilating the Third Vanguard Armada. In the center of the hall, the holographic image of Admiral Elena Reyes flickered. Her voice echoed through the chamber. "You wanted to test humanity. You wanted to break us. Now you'll see what we become when we are pushed." Then the feed ended, leaving only silence and disbelief. The alien chamber trembled with shouts as fear replaced pride. One counselor slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This can't be real. Earth was supposed to be a minor species, half-civilized." Another, with crystalline skin that shimmered in the light, hissed, "Our fleets were crushed in minutes. Their ships use energy signatures beyond our detection range." At the far end of the chamber, the Supreme Counselor, a massive being of silver scales, slowly rose. "Show me the battle logs," he ordered. The footage played again, alien ships firing, the Titan-class warship turning to meet them. Then a single blinding shot and silence. When the video ended, no one dared breathe. The Supreme Counselor's voice came low and heavy. "The humans have achieved forbidden technology. That ship alone rivals our dreadnoughts. How?" No one had an answer. In a smaller chamber deep below the council hall, a private meeting began. Only 7 species were allowed, the oldest, the most powerful. "They should not have this knowledge," said one, his body flickering with bioluminescent patterns. "Their world was quarantined. Their science was primitive. How did they do this without us knowing?" A reptilian elder leaned forward. "They adapted. They evolved faster than the models predicted. The humans hide their progress behind lies. Behind chaos," another snarled. "Then they have deceived the council itself. This cannot stand," a silent vote began. 7 crystals glowed. 6 red, 1 blue, the verdict Operation Extinction. The plan was simple, to send a combined fleet from the outer colonies, erase the human system, and make an example of Earth. Meanwhile, in the shadow of Neptune's rings, the human fleet regrouped. Hundreds of ships hovered in formation, their hulls reflecting the pale blue light. Inside the HSS Titan, Admiral Reyes received reports. Admiral, debris cleanup complete. Enemy survivors, none detected. Reyes nodded. Good, but they'll come again, stronger. Her second officer, Commander Imani, frowned. How soon? Reyes turned to the holographic map of the solar system, where faint signals blinked on the edge of detection. Sooner than we want. On Earth, the truth could no longer be hidden. The governments united, releasing the footage of the alien attack and humanity's counterstrike. Across every continent, people watched in awe as the hidden human fleet appeared on their screens. A single message played with the footage. They came to conquer us. We answered. For the first time in human history, the planet stood united, not as nations, but as one species. In the streets, people waved flags and shouted into the sky, "For Earth! For humanity!" Back in the alien capital, fleets were already being mobilized. Giant shipyards burned bright as dreadnoughts prepared for launch. The Council's broadcast echoed across the galaxy. The human threat must be eliminated. They are a danger to the balance of the stars. But beneath the surface, not all agreed. A young alien diplomat whispered to her mentor, "What if they are not the threat? What if they are the answer?" Her mentor replied coldly, "Then the answer will burn with the question." Hours later, Admiral Reyes received a new transmission. It was heavily encrypted, carrying alien symbols. "Playback," she ordered. The hologram flickered. A strange alien stood within the bridge. His eyes were dark with fear. "Human Admiral, listen carefully. The Council has voted. They are sending their Grand Armada. Every world that defied them has fallen. But yours. They fear yours most." The message ended abruptly. Reyes turned to her officers. "How long until they arrive?" "Long-range scans predict 2 weeks, ma'am." She stared at the stars, her expression calm but deadly. "Then we have 2 weeks to make them regret it." The largest alien vessel ever built, the Eclipse Sovereign, prepared to leave hyperspace dock. Miles long, powered by a singularity core, it could erase continents with a single blast. The alien commander of the Grand Armada gave his orders. "No mercy, no surrender. Earth will be dust," the crew responded as one. "For the Council!" Engines ignited. The ship vanished into hyperspace. Destination Sol System. On the Titan, Reyes stood before the massive viewport, Neptune's blue light reflecting on her uniform. "Ma'am," Imani said quietly, "the AI in Titan has completed the upgrade you ordered. But it says one thing more." "What?" Imani looked uneasy. "It says it's found something under Mars' base, something called Project Titanus. Classified Omega." Reyes's eyes widened slightly. "Activate it. Deep under the red dust of Mars, something enormous stirred, metal shifting, power surging. A shape larger than any ship ever built began to awaken. The ground trembled. The dust parted. A giant voice whispered through static, "Project Titanus, online." The red dust of Mars lay still for centuries, untouched, silent, lifeless. Then, without warning, the ground began to shake. Beneath the surface, deep under layers of rock and forgotten tunnels, massive engines came alive. Old systems powered up. Lights flickered through buried corridors. Machines that hadn't moved in generations began to hum again. And then came a voice, deep, mechanical, ancient. "Project Titanus. Awakening sequence initiated." In orbit above Mars, human patrol ships detected an energy surge unlike anything they had ever seen. "Command, are you seeing this?" one pilot shouted. "Power levels are off the charts. It's coming from below the surface." Back on the HSS Titan, Admiral Elena Reyes watched as new readings flooded the main display. "Location? Mars Colony 7, ma'am. Deep sublevel." Reyes frowned. That site was shut down 80 years ago. Her AI officer, Aura, responded in a calm voice. Correction, Admiral. The site was not shut down. It was hidden. And it appears someone, or something, just turned it back on. Inside the underground facility, massive hangars shook as dust rained from the ceiling. Old robotic arms came to life. Cables snapped. Fuel lines connected automatically. A gigantic shape, larger than any ship ever built, began to rise from the shadows. It was covered in armor thicker than a city wall, engraved with the faded letters, Titanus Prime. Its engines were silent for now, but its eyes, twin blue cores, flickered faintly like a heartbeat. A deep voice echoed through the empty hangar. Primary core stable. Systems integrity at 92%. Awaiting command authorization. Titanus Prime, Commander Imani repeated, staring at the data. That's impossible. That project was only theoretical. Reyes didn't answer. Her gaze stayed fixed on the hologram of Mars, where the ground was literally splitting apart. Aura spoke again. Admiral, Titanus Prime predates Project Iron Sky. It was humanity's first attempt to build a planet-class warship. It was abandoned due to power instability. Reyes's eyes narrowed. And now it's waking up on its own. Meanwhile, far across the void, the alien Grand Armada moved through hyperspace. Thousands of ships, dreadnoughts, and carriers flew in perfect formation. At the center, the Eclipse Sovereign, the largest vessel in known space, led the charge. Its commander, Lord Atheron of the Council Guard, studied human battle data. Reports confirm one Titan-class vessel destroyed our entire Vanguard fleet, said his officer. Atheron's expression remained cold. Then we will crush them with 10,000. Sir, intelligence suggests more hidden assets within the Sol system. Then burn the entire system. No survivors. A tremor rippled through the Martian crust as Titanus Prime began to rise. A storm of red dust swirled into the thin sky. Its engines lit up, glowing white-hot. Every seismic scanner across Mars screamed warnings. Earth's command centers received the signals seconds later. Command, we're getting energy readings from Mars that match. No, exceed the Titan's main reactor. In orbit, Admiral Reyes watched in awe. The Titan's sensors displayed the impossible. Titanus Prime wasn't a ship. It was the size of a small continent. Aura spoke softly, almost with reverence. Designation confirmed. Human planetary defense weapon, Titanus Prime, operational after 80 years of dormancy. Reyes smiled faintly. The aliens wanted a war. Let's give them one. Back in the alien capital, intelligence officers panicked as data from human space reached them. New energy readings detected from the Sol system. Estimated power output exceeds our mothership fleet combined. The Council's Supreme Elder slammed his fist against the table. What have they unleashed now? Another counselor whispered, something ancient, something human. The massive interior of Titanus Prime was like a city, endless tunnels, reactor cores, and defense systems. A deep blue light filled the chamber as an AI interface appeared, speaking to Admiral Reyes through a direct link. Admiral Reyes, this unit recognizes your authority. Awaiting operational orders. Reyes took a deep breath. Titanus Prime, prepare for full launch. Synchronize with the Iron Sky fleet. Acknowledged. Launch sequence engaged. Mars surface splitting open. Colossal engines roaring to life. Human ships pulling back as Titanus Prime rises from beneath the planet. The red horizon glowing white. And then, for the first time in history, the Martian atmosphere burned with the light of human power. Every major city on Earth watched the live feed. Citizens saw a shape rise from Mars, too big to comprehend. It looked like a floating continent made of fire and steel. News anchors couldn't find words. Some whispered, some cried. One reporter finally said it, humanity has just awakened a god of war. In the void between Jupiter and Saturn, the alien Grand Armada exited hyperspace. Thousands of alien ships formed a line that stretched across space like a wall of death. Inside the Titan, Admiral Reyes watched them appear on sensors. Contact confirmed, said Imani. The alien Grand Armada is here. Reyes stood firm. And Titanus Prime? Fully online, ma'am. Awaiting your signal. Reyes stared at the massive fleet ahead and spoke softly. Then let's introduce them to the true strength of humanity. Far away on Mars, Titanus Prime's eyes opened, glowing like twin suns. A voice, ancient and powerful, thundered through every human comm channel. Target locked. Humanity's vengeance has awakened. The screen cut to black. The void between Jupiter and Saturn burned bright with the fire of war. On one side, the Grand Armada of the Alien Council, stretching across space like a silver storm. Thousands of dreadnoughts, tens of thousands of cruisers. The largest military force ever assembled in the galaxy. On the other side, the human fleet, smaller in number but burning with defiance. At its center floated two giants, the HSS Titan and the newly awakened Titanus Prime, their engines glowing like blue suns. For a moment, both sides faced each other in silence, the calm before the greatest battle in history. The alien flagship, Eclipse Sovereign, broadcast a final message across all frequencies. This is Lord Atheron of the Galactic Council. Humanity is ordered to surrender immediately. You have defied galactic law and will be purged from existence. On the Titan's bridge, Admiral Elena Reyes listened without emotion. Then she gave a simple answer. Humanity doesn't surrender. Not today. Not ever. And with that, the battle began. From the alien lines, thousands of plasma lances fired at once, a tidal wave of energy, enough to vaporize moons. But the human fleet was ready. Activate Neptune shield formation. Reyes commanded. In perfect sync, the human ships formed a rotating pattern. Their shields overlapped, creating a glowing sphere of blue energy around the fleet. The alien barrage struck and scattered harmlessly. Aura, the Titan's AI, reported calmly, shields holding. Minimal damage sustained, Commander Imani grinned. Their weapons barely scratched us. Reyes's voice was firm. Good. Now it's our turn. The HSS Titan's forward cannons charged, glowing brighter than the sun. The ship's frame groaned under the strain of its own power. Main batteries ready, said Aura. Target the lead dreadnought, Reyes ordered. Target locked. The Titan fired. A beam of white light tore through space, slicing the alien flagship in half. The explosion lit up Saturn's rings, turning them into rivers of molten gold. The human fleet followed. Railguns, plasma arcs, kinetic missiles. Every weapon fired in perfect rhythm. Alien ships began to fall like burning stars. On the Eclipse Sovereign's command deck, alarms screamed. Officers shouted, "Our forward lines are collapsing. Humans are breaching formation." Lord Atheron slammed his claws into the console. "Focus all fire on the Titan." Thousands of alien guns locked onto the human flagship. In an instant, the Titan was swallowed by fire. For several seconds, nothing could be seen, only blinding explosions and debris. Then, through the smoke, the Titan emerged, battered but alive. Its shields glowed red-hot, engines roaring louder than ever. "Admiral," Aura said calmly, "damage levels severe, but structural integrity remains stable." Reyes clenched her fists. "We hold the line. Humanity holds." From Mars orbit, Titanus Prime roared forward. The massive planetary weapon crossed millions of kilometers in seconds. The shockwave of its engines pushed dust and debris across the solar system. When it arrived near Saturn, even the alien fleet stopped firing. It was colossal, a moving fortress the size of a city. One alien officer whispered, "That's not a ship. That's a world." Reyes opened a secure channel. "Titanus Prime, this is Admiral Reyes. You're clear to engage." The deep AI voice answered, "Confirmed." Initiating planetary cannon sequence. Panels opened across Titanus Prime's surface, revealing thousands of glowing weapon cores. Then a single massive cannon on its front began to charge, brighter and brighter, until it outshone Saturn itself. Firing in 3, 2, 1... A beam the size of a continent shot forth, ripping through the center of the alien armada. Hundreds of ships vanished in a flash. The beam kept going, carving a glowing path through space until it struck one of Saturn's rings, vaporizing it completely. On Earth, billions watched the battle live. Every city square, every home, every screen showed the same thing, their fleet fighting for them among the stars. Children cheered, soldiers saluted, and in the control center of the United Earth Network, one officer whispered, "We're witnessing the birth of legend." But the aliens were not finished. Atheron raised his hand. "Deploy the void bombers. Activate the black hole charges." From the rear lines, dozens of strange ships emerged, carrying forbidden weapons, miniature singularities, capable of tearing space apart. They fired. Space itself began to twist. Human ships were pulled into spiraling distortions, their hulls bending. One by one, smaller vessels were swallowed whole. On the Titan, alarms blared. "Aura, countermeasures!" Reyes shouted. Attempting gravitic interference. Failed. Energy readings unstable. Titanus Prime, can you stop it? Affirmative. Engaging gravitational dampers, the massive ship fired counter-gravity waves. The black holes collapsed. The surviving human ships escaped. But Titanus Prime took the hit, its outer armor melting under the force. Smoke filled the command deck. Imani turned to Reyes. "They'll keep coming. There are too many." Reyes looked out at the endless alien fleet, glowing red with fury. Then her expression hardened. "Then we make them pay for every inch of our sky." Reyes opened a full-spectrum broadcast across every frequency, human and alien alike. Her voice was calm, unshaken. "You came to erase us. You came to burn our home. But we are still here. We don't kneel, we fight. And we survive." She raised her hand. "Fire all weapons!" The Titan and Titanus Prime unleashed everything. Beams, missiles, railguns, plasma waves. The rings of Saturn exploded in a storm of fire and light. Half the alien fleet was obliterated in minutes. Inside the chaos, a dark shape emerged from hyperspace, far larger than the Eclipse Sovereign, a ship unlike any ever seen. Alien, ancient, monstrous. Its hull was carved with runes that pulsed like living veins. Sensors screamed warnings. Aura's voice dropped to a whisper. "Admiral, this is no ordinary vessel. Energy readings match no known database. This ship is alive." Reyes stared in silence. "What is it?" The alien transmission came through, a deep, cold voice that echoed across the stars. "We are the architects. You have defied the gods of this galaxy." The transmission cut off. Reyes turned to her crew, eyes hard as steel. "Then it's time the gods learned to fear humans." The rings of Saturn were gone, shattered into glowing dust. The stars themselves seemed to flicker from the violence of the war. Millions of alien ships lay in ruins, their burning wreckage orbiting Saturn like metallic ghosts. But despite their losses, the Alien Council's armada still numbered in the thousands. Regrouping, reforming, preparing for one last strike. And then came the architect's ship, the being that silenced all comms, all sensors, all hope, a living vessel, massive, breathing, pulsing with alien energy that twisted light itself. Every scanner in the human fleet screamed impossible readings. Even the Titan's mighty AI aura struggled to describe it. "Admiral, that ship's surface is regenerating. It's alive and absorbing the wreckage around it." The bridge fell silent. Then the deep voice echoed again through every channel, calm and cold as space itself. "You have wounded our children. You have burned our fleets. Now you will face the architects." A sudden shockwave rippled through space. Titanus Prime's hull cracked under unseen pressure. Entire alien ships were pulled toward the architect's ship as if gravity itself had turned against them. Commander Imani shouted, "They're bending space! It's pulling us in!" Admiral Reyes clenched her jaw. "Engage reverse thrusters. Full burn, keep formation." Engines roared, pushing the human fleet backward, but even the Titan shuddered. Panels burst, sparks flew. The entire vessel groaned like a wounded beast. Still, the architect's ship drifted closer, its tendrils extending, wrapping around ruined vessels and absorbing them into its hull. Aura's voice cut through the static. "Admiral, the architects are feeding on debris. Their mass is increasing exponentially." Reyes stood firm. "Then we'll feed them fire. Target the central core, Reyes commanded. Concentrate all plasma batteries. Titanus Prime, prepare orbital bombardment. The Titan's cannons roared once again, lighting up space with white fire. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward the monstrous ship, but before they could hit, the architects responded. The alien behemoth opened its maw, a swirling void, and every human missile vanished into it. Erased from existence, Aura reported. Confirmed. All munitions lost. Unknown spatial distortion. Imani slammed her fist on the console. They swallowed our weapons like dust. Reyes's voice remained calm. Then we hit them harder. Load the thorium lances. Prepare the antimatter batteries. Titanus Prime charged up again, its surface glowing red-hot. The ship trembled as energy built inside its reactors, and then, together, Titan and Titanus Prime fired. Twin pillars of white fire that tore through space. The beam hit the architect's ship. For the first time, it flinched. Its surface cracked, black smoke bursting out into the void. Reyes smiled grimly. So you can bleed. Far behind the battle, the remnants of the alien council fleet watched in terror. Lord Atheron slammed his claws against the command table. This was never part of the plan. The architects promised victory. An officer cried, "Their power is too great, my lord. Even we are being targeted." And it was true. The architects were consuming their own ships, drawing power from alien vessels, not caring who they devoured. Atheron's eyes widened. They see us all as fuel. He turned his ship around. Retreat. Save what's left of the council. But the architect's energy wave struck, and the Eclipse Sovereign vanished in a storm of light. Half the human fleet was gone. Titanus Prime's hull was split open, leaking atmosphere. The Titan's shields were flickering. Yura reported. Multiple systems offline. Weapon power reduced to 40%. Reyes stood in silence. Smoke filled the bridge. She looked at her crew, exhausted, bruised, bloodied, yet unbroken. If we fall here, she said softly, Earth falls. Our people fall. There's nowhere to run. Imani nodded. Then we don't run. We fight until they remember our name. Reyes activated a secret command key, one only known to her, the UEN president, and Titanus Prime's core. Aura, code Omega-1. Execute Operation Heaven's Gate, Aura hesitated. Warning, this action will consume all remaining fuel and may destroy the fleet. I know, Reyes said quietly. Do it. Across the battlefield, every surviving human ship received the same order. Their reactors began to overload, synchronizing energy into the Titan's core. The entire human fleet, tens of thousands of ships, turned into one single, massive power source. Titan's hull glowed brighter and brighter until the metal turned white. All ships, Reyes said over comms, you fought with honor. Whatever happens next, humanity will endure. Titanus Prime locked its course directly into the heart of the architect's ship. Its massive engines fired at full thrust. The entire space between Saturn and Jupiter began to ripple. Aura's voice was quiet now. Goodbye, Admiral. It has been an honor, Reyes whispered. Let's make history. The two Titans collided, human and alien, in an explosion brighter than the sun. A blinding white sphere expanded, swallowing everything. The alien armada, the remains of the Council, the architect's ship. Then silence. Hours later the light faded. Saturn was gone. In its place, a massive glowing nebula shimmered across the sky, the grave of millions. From the debris, a few surviving human ships drifted, damaged but alive. And there, floating among the wreckage, was the Titan's core module, still glowing faintly. Aura's voice whispered through the static. Signal found. Humanity endures. Back on Earth, telescopes captured the glow of the nebula. Children pointed at the sky, seeing a new star where Saturn used to be. Scientists named it the Titan's Light, and across the world, one message echoed again and again. They faced the gods and survived, but deep within the nebula, hidden among the ruins, something stirred. A massive shadow shifted, pieces of the architect's ship still alive. Slowly rebuilding, a single red eye opened, glowing faintly. Humanity will be tested again. The nebula once known as Saturn's rings had become a scar of light across the solar system. The greatest battle in human history had ended in silence. The Titan and Titanus Prime, humanity's twin giants, were gone, lost in the explosion that erased the alien armada. For weeks, Earth believed the war was over. The alien council was destroyed, their fleets scattered. Humanity had paid a heavy price, but it had won, or so they thought. A month after the Battle of Saturn, strange signals began to appear across deep space sensors. Not from outside the solar system, but from within the Titan's nebula. A research ship, HFY Horizon, was sent to investigate. As it drifted into the glowing dust field, all signals went silent. The crew stared through the windows, watching the blue mist swirl around them like living fog. Then something moved. A massive shadow inside the light. "Captain," whispered one of the scientists, "something's out there, watching us." Before the captain could respond, the lights flickered and a deep voice echoed through the ship's comms. "You thought we were gone." The voice wasn't human. It was ancient, cold, and vast. "We are the architects, and we have learned from you." Then the horizon vanished. Not destroyed, not exploded, simply erased from reality. Only a single transmission reached Earth. A single word. "Return." In the United Earth Defense Command, alarms blared. Admiral Elena Reyes had been missing since the Titan's last stand. Presumed dead. Now her second-in-command, Commander Imani, stood before the War Council. "The signal came from Saturn's nebula," she said. "Something is alive out there." A scientist, Dr. Aveline Park, showed holographic data, waves of unknown energy pulsing from the nebula, repeating in a strange pattern. "They're rebuilding," she said quietly. "The architects are reconstructing themselves and adapting." The council fell into silence. Finally, the UN president spoke. "Then we prepare for war again," Imani nodded. "And this time, we don't wait for them to come to us." Days later, a strange transmission came through from deep space. Encrypted, broken, but recognizable. "This is Titan. System. Online." Imani froze. "That's not possible." The Titan was destroyed. Engineers worked fast, decoding the signal. It wasn't just the Titan. The voice of Aura, the ship's AI, was alive. "Admiral Reyes. Status unknown. Location within the nebula." The entire command room went silent. Imani turned to the council. "She's alive, and if she's still fighting, we're bringing her back." A massive mission was launched, Operation Phoenix. The goal: enter the nebula, find the Titan's core, and rescue Admiral Reyes. The flagship for this mission was the HSS Valkyrie, a new prototype warship built using technology salvaged from the wreck of Titanus Prime. It carried a small fleet of 20 ships, elite crews, the best humanity had left. Before launch, Commander Imani addressed the crews. "We don't know what's waiting in that nebula, but if the architects are rising again, we end them this time. Humanity doesn't get second chances." The fleet jumped toward the glowing cloud that marked Saturn's grave. The Valkyrie entered the nebula, and all stars vanished. The ships were surrounded by glowing dust and strange energy storms. Static filled every comm. "Sensors are blind," reported one officer. "It's like we're flying through a storm made of light." Then came the whispers, faint voices through the radio, impossible to locate. Some were human, some were not. "Imani, help me. We are reborn." One by one, the smaller ships began to vanish. No explosions, just gone. Imani clenched her jaw. "Stay in formation! Don't lose focus!" Suddenly, the Valkyrie's scanners picked up something massive ahead, a shape larger than any ship. And there, rising from the mist, was the Titan. The HSS Titan floated, silent and dark. Its hull cracked and scorched, but somehow still intact. Power readings showed faint life signals inside. "We found her," whispered Imani, docking drones attached. A small team boarded the Titan. Inside, everything was frozen. The air still, consoles dead, lights flickering. Bodies of crew members floated in zero gravity, but in the command chair sat Admiral Reyes, unconscious yet alive. And beside her console, the AI core of Aura was glowing faintly. "Aura," Imani said softly, "it's me." "Commander Imani, you made it." The AI's voice was weak, digital static in its tone. "Commander, the architects are not rebuilding, they're evolving." Imani frowned. "What do you mean?" "They used human DNA, recovered from the battle. They are becoming like you." The bridge lights turned red. The Titan's radar activated by itself. Outside, dozens of alien shapes began emerging from the nebula. But they were different. Their ships looked part organic, part metal, and horrifyingly familiar. Dr. Park gasped. "They're copying our designs. They've built human-alien hybrids." The hybrid ships surrounded the Valkyrie and Titan, silent, waiting. Then one transmitted a message, and it was in a human voice. "We are what you made us. You gave us war. Now we give it back." Missiles flew, the nebula lit up with new fire. The hybrid fleet attacked with impossible precision, using both human tactics and alien power. Imani ordered defensive formation. "Protect the Titan." The battle was chaos. Human ships fell one after another. The nebula thundered with explosions. Inside the Titan, Aura suddenly powered up completely. Admiral Reyes awakening. "Stand by!" Reyes's eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly blue. She looked around, dazed. "Imani? Where are we?" "You're aboard the Titan, ma'am. The architects are back, and worse than before." Reyes stood, her voice steady. "Then we finish what we started." She turned toward the window, staring at the monstrous hybrid fleet closing in. "Prepare all weapons. Humanity isn't done fighting yet." The Titan's core roared to life. Systems came online one by one, reactors, railguns, plasma cannons. But then, deep within the nebula, a colossal shape began to emerge, even larger than before. The true Architect Prime, the origin of all others, had awakened. Its voice shook every ship in the fleet. "You destroyed one god. Let us see if you can destroy the Creator." Reyes looked toward it, unflinching. "We already did once." The Titan and the Valkyrie powered up side by side. Aura's voice echoed like thunder. "Human fleet, fire at will." The Titan floated once more, scarred but alive. Beside it, the Valkyrie burned bright like a phoenix. Around them, the glowing mist of Saturn's nebula twisted with energy and death. This was it, the final stand of humanity. For beyond the nebula rose the largest structure ever witnessed by human eyes, the Architect Prime, a living world ship the size of a moon, its surface crawling with energy veins and pulsing hearts of light. Its voice echoed across every channel, deep enough to rattle bones. "You are defiance made flesh. You burned our children. You call yourself humanity. Now, face your end." On the Titan's bridge, alarms screamed. Aura's voice broke through the chaos. "Warning, gravitational field expanding. The Architect Prime is generating a singularity weapon." Commander Imani stared at the display. Space itself was bending in front of them. A swirling black sphere was forming, devouring light, swallowing wreckage. Admiral Reyes stood calm, eyes fixed on the growing storm. "If that thing ignites, it'll consume the entire solar system," Imani asked. "Then what's the plan?" Reyes answered, steady and cold. "We don't survive this. We win it." The remaining human fleet gathered, less than 100 ships all that was left. From Mars, lunar and Earth orbit came reinforcements. Civilian transports armed with railguns, mining vessels retrofitted with cannons, even freighters carrying warheads. The entire species had answered the call. Every ship, every pilot, every engineer, they all came, Imani said. Reyes nodded. "Then let's give them something worth dying for." Aura amplified her voice across the fleet. "This is Admiral Elena Reyes. Humanity stands together today. We may fall, but our light will burn so bright the stars will remember our names." The Architect Prime opened its surface. Thousands of hybrid ships poured out, each one part flesh, part machine, moving like living blades. The human fleet opened fire. Missiles streaked through the void. Plasma waves collided. Space became a sea of fire and shattered light, but the hybrids adapted faster than any enemy before. They copied human tactics instantly, mirroring maneuvers, countering every strategy. "They're learning in real time," shouted Imani. "Then we stop teaching," Reyes replied. "Aura, randomize attack patterns. Use chaos." The Titan's cannons shifted rhythm, firing erratically, unpredictable, primal. The hybrids hesitated, thrown off by the sudden madness. For the first time, human ingenuity outmatched alien perfection. While the fleet held the line, a small infiltration team, led by Reyes and Imani, boarded the Valkyrie and launched toward the Architect Prime's surface. The ship cut through waves of enemy fire and pierced the creature's outer shell. Inside, it was a nightmare. Tunnels made of living tissue and metal veins pulsing with energy. Reyes led the way, rifle in hand. "Aura, guide us to the core," acknowledged. Energy readings ahead. The heart of the architects. As they descended, they saw shapes forming in the walls, human faces twisted and half alive. The architects had been using human DNA, growing new hybrids from the dead of Saturn. Imani's voice shook. "They're making copies of us." "Then let's show them the original still fights," Reyes said. At the center of the ship pulsed a colossal crystal, glowing red. Connected to every vessel in the Architect fleet, Ura's projection flickered beside Reyes. "That is the Architect Nexus. Destroy it, and all connected ships will collapse." Reyes planted a device, a singularity charge built from Titanus Prime's remains. Suddenly the air shimmered. A massive figure materialized, part machine, part god. The avatar of the architects. It spoke with 1,000 voices. "You fight without reason. You destroy without purpose. You could have joined eternity." Reyes raised her weapon. "We don't join monsters. We end them." The avatar attacked, tendrils of energy slicing through walls. The team scattered, firing everything they had. Aura redirected power from the Valkyrie's reactor to the bomb. "Detonation in 120 seconds, Imani shouted. "We won't make it out in time." Reyes smiled faintly. "We weren't supposed to." Outside, the Titan was burning. Half its hull was gone, its engines failing. Still, it kept firing, protecting the Valkyrie's insertion point with every last cannon. "Admiral Reyes' signal just cut," Aura reported through the fleet. The crews already knew what that meant, yet none turned back. Every remaining ship followed the Titan's example, diving straight into the heart of the hybrid swarm. One pilot's last transmission came through the static. "For Earth, for Titan." Inside the Architect Prime, Reyes looked at the pulsing core, her hand hovering over the trigger. Aura's voice was calm. "It has been an honor, Admiral," Reyes whispered. "Tell them we fought to the last." And she pressed the button. The screen turned white. A second sun was born. The Architect Prime imploded, its tendrils collapsing, tearing its fleet apart. Shockwaves rippled across the nebula, scattering debris for millions of kilometers. When the light faded, silence returned. The human fleet was gone. The hybrids gone. Only the glow of the nebula remained. 50 years passed. The nebula became known as the halo of humanity, visible from every colony in the system. Children grew up pointing at the bright ring of light in the night sky. They didn't call it Saturn anymore. They called it Titan's Rest. Ura's voice was once again heard, faintly transmitted from the nebula. Signal continuing. "Humanity endures." And deep within the light, the Titan's silhouette drifted silently, a monument of sacrifice, a symbol of defiance. In the farthest corner of the galaxy, alien probes recorded something impossible, a new human signal. Coming from deep interstellar space, encoded in it were the words, "Project Starbound, humanity is not done." The screen fades to black. The end.